Okay guys, we are now on Unit 8 and we're on Lesson 1. This lesson involves geometric figures. So you've probably heard of these before. There's points, lines, line segments, and rays. And I know I taught this in 3rd grade, so I know some of my students that were in my class last year should know this. If this doesn't sound anything familiar, maybe this will be a good refresher. So, points is an exact location that is represented by a dot. So this right here is a point. So this can be written as point X. You can label it usually with a letter. So you could have point B, you could have point A, you could have point C, any of those. Okay? So it's a dot, and then we usually label it with a letter. And so I could have a plane like this where I have this just background, and if I put my points on it, I need to label them with some sort of name. So I labeled B, A, C. This one was labeled X, and they put it right above. Okay, so a point is that dot, and it's located anywhere on there. So if you see a dot, you know that's called a point. So you can think of it, yeah. The next one is a line. A line is a straight set of points that extend in opposite directions without ending. That's what these arrows represent. These arrows represent, I'm going to actually change the color. This without ending, the arrows represent. So if you see arrows, that means that this goes on and on forever. There's no stop to it. Okay? It never ends. So the way we label this is we have this point here, point here. Okay? This is labeled, you can either write out line AB or you can draw a line above the letters. So for example, if I had this, to write it, I could either say line CD, or I could write CD and then I draw a line above it that has arrows on both sides because they go on and on forever. Remember, that's what the arrows represent. There's without an end. They go on and on and on. The next one is a ray. A ray is where you have a starting point and then it goes on forever because of that arrow. So you'll see a part of a line that has one endpoint. You can see that, that's A, and extends in one direction without ending is called a ray. So without ending means that arrow. It's never going to end. Now you might say, well, Mrs. Anderson, there's a point right here. That is just to label it. So we would label it ray, AB, or we'd do AB and draw a ray above it to label that it is a ray. Now I want to show you what one looks like. Let's say I had this ray. To label that it's CD and it's a ray, because before we had CD but it was a line, so we put a line above it. This time we'll put CD, but we're going to draw a ray, so we have the ray above it. See how it's the same thing as what it looks like? You just put it above and people will know that's a ray. Okay, the next one is a line segment. That means there's two endpoints and it does not go on and on forever. See how there's no arrows? Because there's no arrows, it doesn't go on forever. Doesn't go on. Ran out of from my R. Okay, it doesn't go on forever. So, an endpoint or a line segment has 2 points in it and no arrows. Okay, so I have an endpoint right here of CD. Before I had CD as a line, and I don't want it as a line, I had CD as array. Well, this is an array. So to make this line segment, I just draw a line above. With no, if you want to draw the endpoints, you can. But you don't have to. Okay, we've learned all of them. We're going to go through each of these, and you're going to tell me what they are. So let's start with the first one. What's number 1? Is it going to be a line segment, array, a line, or a point? You're right. It's going to be a point. Okay, now look at the next one. Is it a point, a line, array, or a line segment? Call it out. You're right. It's a line segment. It's a line segment because it has the 2 endpoints. Okay? The next one, what is that one called? You're right if you said array because it has an endpoint and then it extends out forever and ever and ever. Okay, take a look at the next one. What is it? You're right. Oops, and I covered up. Let's see. There you go. You're right if you said it was array. Even though it's going the opposite direction, I have an endpoint and then an arrow. That means it goes on forever. Okay? This next one, what is it? You're right if you said it was a line because look at these 2 arrows right here. It's going to go on and on forever and ever. The last one, what is it? You are correct if you said it was a line segment because it has its 2 endpoints, so it has a starting and a stopping point, just like the line segment we saw. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I hope it helps. Bye.